Well, Greta, thank you for having me on your show. I commend Speaker Johnson for getting this passed. I wasn't for sure he could do it. I know President Trump weighed in real heavy with those members that were kind of on the fence. So this morning, President Trump and I had a really good conversation about this bill, since we got two different reconciliation packages or budget, whatever people call it a budget, people call it reconciliation. I said, maybe we should just call it the Doge Act so we can make the president's priorities permanent. The most important thing is that the president wants to make the tax cuts permanent. In the House version, it doesn't make them permanent. So the president and I had a good conversation about that, and then trying to make it balanced. He would love to have a balanced budget, which I think that's going to be a tall order, but especially for FY25. For FY26, I really do think, Greta, it's going to be important. But the number one thing we got to do in the Senate before we can pass it is we got to make the tax cuts that President Trump put in place in 2017. We've got to make those permanent so people's taxes don't increase. Right now, what we call is just holding baseline on tax policy and make it permanent, and that's what the president wants. That's our number one priority in the Senate.
Okay, so if you make the tax cuts permanent, that means there's going to be less revenue to the Treasury from the income from the taxes. But you've raised the ceiling under this so that you can borrow more. That doesn't seem particularly good. And also within the budget are increases like for defense spending. So where are we going to get all this money?
Well, we've increased the debt limit, or the House has increased the debt limit, if we pass it, by $4 trillion. What that allows is, one, the economy to come back, and we want to see a 3.5% growth GDP. And that'll happen just because the tax policy, the reinvestment, the R&D that has now expired for businesses to start reinvesting. You're seeing, you saw Apple commit to $500 billion investment. You've seen other companies. I think we're almost to $1 trillion or over $1 trillion in investment that's coming back to the United States. And then you think about the tariffs. So what we're trying to do is give President Trump's economy time to work and get back on track. We've got to recover from what Biden left us. The Biden administration left us in serious debt. They left the economy floating. They left businesses hanging in the balance, and they allowed a lot of Trump's policies from 2017, tax policies, to expire. We're trying to restore the border. We're trying to bring back our energy independence. We're trying to bring back the economy. There's a lot of things working, and it just doesn't happen overnight. So all that $4 trillion is allow the president time to get his policies in place and get the economy working for the American people again.
Well, I hope you're right, but I wonder if you're not biting off more than you can chew, because you're doing so many things at one time. And these tariffs that you talk about, that will also people will want to buy our products because we're going to get tariffs back at us. I mean, there are an awful lot of variables. When you raise the debt ceiling, we've got to pay more money on the debt ceiling, and the reduced tax receipts with the permanent tax cuts. I mean, there are an awful lot of variables, and we in some ways we got to be real lucky this works out.
Well, Greta, I don't really know if we're going to be lucky. President Trump is a very successful business guy. He knows exactly what he needs to do. He's been here before. He's done it. So these aren't new ideas. These are ideas that was proven during his first administration. They can work. We're moving at a pace because we don't have time to wait. Now, at the same time, the tariffs, what President Trump is doing is he's trying to keep these countries that have been taking advantage of us since the end of World War II, because we wanted to help rebuild Europe, after the Korean War because we wanted South Korea to be stood up, and after the Vietnam War so we could rebuild that area over there. We allow those countries to come in and take advantage of us. What we're saying now is, hey, let's be reciprocal in this. We want to have access to your market. You can have access to our market, but it's going to be free. The president doesn't want to just go out there and put these tariffs on everybody just because. He's made it very clear. He's okay with reciprocal. So if you want to have zero tariffs on us, and you're going to let us have access to your market, we'll do the same to you, but it's going to be a two-way street from this point on. I know that can work because people want to do business with the number one economy in the world, and that's the United States.
All right, I just want to add a couple of things. One is I don't pretend to know the answer, Senator. Number two, you're right. He's been a very successful businessman. And number three, I'm rooting for this to happen because I want things to help the American people. I was going to say that there's so many variables, so many balls in the air on this. Senator Markwayne. People think news just happens. It doesn't. It happens because there's someone there to capture the moment, to explain it and share it. That's my job. I go where news breaks and give you the facts. Join me for The Record on Newsmax.